Hello. So today I was having worship. I was reading, and so this I was having worship, and it brought me to want to share my thoughts. But this past week, I've been kind of listening to Mark, and the reason why I chose Mark is because I have an idea on like the other people who speak in the Bible or the other books of the Bible. It's like Matthew. I think about the Beatitudes. The Beatitudes is when Jesus was speaking on a mountain. He was giving a sermon, and essentially he gave like principles to live life by, like 8 principles to live life. Like that's essentially what he did in that. And then in Matthew 6, he talks about like not worrying. Like don't worry. Like for what? What are you worried about tomorrow? Tomorrow we'll worry about itself. Like the lilies in the field, they not stressing. They're not thinking about how they're going to look good. They're not thinking about how they're going to do this or that. They're here today and they're gone tomorrow. And they know their father feeds them. Anyway, so like for me, someone who who stressed a lot in life and worried about tomorrow a lot, like that is like the significant point for me for Matthew. So like in Romans, it like speaks to my heart. I love Romans. Anyway, so I have different ideas of like what these books bring, but I was like, I don't know nothing about Mark. Who's Mark? What he had to say? So I'm listening to Mark, right? And in Mark 12, so I have this is my pretty Bible. Look at it. I got it off Amazon. Did I lose my? No, I didn't lose my flag. Anyway, I don't know if you can see the flowers. It's all pretty, and then it says message right there. So I did that to show you that this is the Message Bible, right? So the Message Bible is different from like other Bibles because it's kind of like a paraphrase sometimes. Like they take like 3 verses and they just say basically what it said, and they use more of a modern voice. So love the Message Bible. Reading it, and this section of it says, "Our intimacies will be with God." It says some Sadducees. There was like a couple groups of people who were bugging Jesus when he was on the planet. He was walking around, and one of them were called the Sadducees. Like there were different crews. So some Sadducees, the party that denies any possibility of resurrection, came up and asked, "Teacher, Moses wrote that if man dies and leaves a wife but no child, his brother is obligated to marry the widow and have children. Well, there was once 7 brothers. The first took a wife. He died childless. The second married her. He died, still no child. The third and the 7th, and so on." So basically, these guys are marrying this woman. Well, like, it was like, once the first brother marries her, it's their responsibility to create a lineage from this woman. So if there's no children out of her with the first guy, the second guy has to marry. Anyway, the guys had to keep marrying her because no kids came along. And so then they were like, so when resurrection happened, because that's what they were talking about, these Sadducees didn't believe in resurrection, so they tried him. They came to Jesus and they tried him. And they said, finally, the wife died. When they are raised at resurrection, whose wife is she? When all 7 of the brothers are alive and the one woman, whose wife is she going to be? Thought process started like spiraling when he addressed the first thing. He was like, first of all, the marriage business will be over. We will be as angels. Our ecstasies and intimacies will be with God. So I was like, part of our ecstasies and our intimacies here on earth is sex. So I was like, basically we would have like that pleasure that we get from sex now, we would have that with God. And I was like, so how does that work? So then I started thinking about like, what is sex? Like, is sex like connecting? Like, okay, so like, I feel like even like thinking about sex with God is kind of like wild for some people, because it's like sometimes people categorize sex as something like dirty. It's dirty. And then God is like holy. And to say those two things together is like almost sacrilegious. But I'm like, sex, man, like, it creates a whole human. Like, that is the one thing that we can do that creates so much power. A human being is created from that. Like, it's the one creation at like one, like, it's so like it's so powerful that, like, it's so cool that we have like the gift of creation. Like, he, through sex, not only do we get pleasure when not, like, we were given the gift of creation through that. Mind blowing to me. Mind blowing. But so, like, when it comes to like sex with God, like, what is that? Like, I don't know if you guys seen the movie Avatar, but like in the movie, like, they're on a different planet, and these creatures can take like their hair, and it's like part of the hair like has these little, it's gonna sound horrible, but has these little wormy things that come out, and then like when Jake, the main guy in the movie, he's like connecting to his horse. He like gets on his horse, but to get on his horse or flying creature thing, he has to like connect to the horse. That's like how he rides, and he can connect to the creatures and whatever. And then when they're mating, when he's having sex with Zoe's dad, I don't know what her name was in the movie. Anyway, like, they like connect to their hairs. And there's this big tree that they worship, and I don't know if they connect to the tree, like if they connect their hairs to the tree. Like, I want to say that that's part of it, but I would have to watch it again. But I'm wondering, like, basically, is like sex with God, like, just like the, like, we won't, like, my questioning was like, why would he no longer have us have sex? Like, why would he take that creating part away? And I was like, maybe it's just connection, and that connection will no longer just be with one person. Because I feel like the understanding that we have, like, as human beings, it's really hard to get along with people. And like, to be married or to be with one person forever is like, or to connect, anyway, to be married with one person, like, it takes a lot of work. So I feel like that's one reason why, like, you know, you're not with a whole bunch of people, because it takes so much work to just be with one person, like, to add on other people, or like just families. You kind of accept your family because you have to. But like, in general, people are less understanding about other people, and they don't put in effort to make relationships with like the wider population, because it takes so much effort to like get along with everybody. Like, why can't we all just get along? Because it's hard to like try to come to like all this understanding with so many people. But like, I guess in heaven, like, we would have come to that understanding, so we just all connect? Or is it all like connecting together? Or is it all connecting just with God? Are we like all like one with God, and therefore we're connecting with everyone else? Or is it just God that we're connecting with? I don't know. Like, when I was younger, like, people, I know, like, I thought, and I've heard other people think, like, God, can you come after I have some bomb sex? Like, I just want to have that moment of ecstasy first. But I'm like, maybe when you get to heaven, like, I think Paul says it, like, I'm not worried about, how did he say it? Oh, well, he was saying, basically, I'm not worried about the pain that I have to feel here on earth. Like, he was like I said, Paul is extreme. Like, he's like, I'll take the pain. I'll take the sacrifice. I'll be a slave for God, because I know what's on the other side is so much, it's so worth it. So, like, I wonder, is like, yeah, sure. Like, me and the other teenagers who were talking about this, like, we wanted to have that, like, moment of ecstasy that we had heard so much about. But I'm like, if all our ecstasies and intimacies will then be with God, like, who says it ends? Like, it might be more than a moment that we feel that just pure joy that one moment that we feel here. Yeah. So these were my thoughts. These were my thoughts on worship today. Other questions that came to mind were like, wow, so the Sadducees, who were like basically like Jewish spiritual leaders. Like, so they didn't believe in resurrection. Like, that was their whole point in bringing up this question to God. And I'm like, so what did you guys think? I wonder what they thought after death. Like, I wonder what they thought happened after death. Like, yeah, what did they think happened after death? Because they didn't believe in resurrection. These are questions I had. And just for the record, I'm going to read because I was reading from the New King James. I was reading from the Message Bible. This little Bible, oh, my Bibles are so cute. This little Bible is the New King James Version. Come on. Yeah. And so the way they say it here is, or Jesus' response in this form is, are you not therefore mistaken, because you know not the scriptures nor the power of God? For when they rise from the dead, they neither marry nor are given into marriage, but are like angels in heaven. But concerning the dead, and then it goes on. So in this version, it doesn't say the piece that the Message version says. So it says marriage won't happen. Both versions say marriage won't happen, but this version says, marriage won't happen. Both versions say that. We will be like angels. And this one clarifies what being like angels means, which is all our ecstasies and intimacies will come from God. So, yeah. I wonder, like, there are a lot of things that come from, like, reading these. One, why the different versions? Not why the different versions, but, like, with the fact that there are different versions, what is being like angels? Because this version says being like angels, the NIV, the New King James Version, and then this is like my old one. I love it. This one also says we will be like angels. So what does it mean to be like angels? What does it mean? These are the questions from all of the thoughts. What does it mean to be like angels? What does it mean to have our ecstasies and intimacies come from God? What does sex mean here on earth to us? Is it like, yeah, what is, like, I'm asking the viewers. I actually want to know from you guys, those in the audience, what does sex mean to you? Like, is it connecting like I think? Or ultimate connection like I think? Is it like, other thoughts? I'm trying to think of other people's opinions on, like, what sex is. Is it ever? Like, what is sex to you? And for all the theos, the people who have, like, really studied this, I want to know, or really studied the history of the Bible and whatnot. I really want to know, what did the Sadducees think happened after death? So these are my thoughts. And I want to know your thoughts. Share them with me. If you see this on Instagram, I'm going to have a question afterward. Answer the question. And if you see this on YouTube, comment, subscribe, like this video. All right. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.